G'day, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're building the ultimate stress-free blueprint for planning and executing corporate training. Look, if you're a learning and development manager, in HR, or a corporate trainer wanting to deliver absolutely seamless sessions without the usual logistical headaches, you are in exactly the right place.
We all know how it goes, right? You can have the absolute best facilitator in the world, killer content, a brilliant presentation. But if the logistics fail, if the room is freezing cold or the tech just completely drops out, the learning fails. People mentally check out and start thinking about what's for dinner. So let's figure out how to stop that from happening and make sure your training actually sticks.
Okay, let's kick things off by clarifying exactly what we're building here. Corporate training is structured learning designed to genuinely shift the dial on individual and organizational capability. Whether we're talking leadership development, compliance, or sales training, the end game is measurable growth. It's not just an excuse for a day out of the office to grab a free lunch.
To get that growth, we need a rock-solid plan. Here's our agenda: planning strategy, finding venues, optimizing tech, the participant experience, and evaluating success.
Step 1. Planning your training strategy. This is our blueprint.
Laying down a solid foundation starts way before anyone even steps into a room. Think of it in 4 distinct phases. You start by defining your real learning outcomes before you even think about booking a venue. Then, before the session, you're locking in tech and dietary needs. On the day, it's all about testing and welcoming your team. And finally, you're assessing the learning after the dust settles. It's a complete end-to-end life cycle.
Moving on to step 2, finding the perfect venue. This is your foundation.
The contrast here is honestly night and day. A generic meeting room might do the job for a quick team catch-up, but a purpose-built training venue actually supports professional learning. It gives you flexible layouts, professional AV, and that absolutely crucial on-site event assistance. Honestly, choosing a purpose-built space saves your team massive headaches because the venue is literally designed for exactly what you're trying to achieve.
And hey, if you're running a complex or unfamiliar program, an on-site inspection is just mandatory. You've got to check crucial elements like screen sightlines, so nobody is craning their neck for 8 hours, and natural light. Natural light is an absolute game changer for keeping attendees alert, especially during that brutal post-lunch food coma.
Which brings us to step 3, optimizing layouts and technology, the framework of our build.
I'd actually recommend taking a mental snapshot of this layout matrix because matching the room shape to your learning objective is critical. Notice how a cabaret style is perfect for collaborative workshops? Participants can work in small groups while still clearly seeing the presenter. On the flip side, a U-shape is completely unmatched for coaching and facilitated discussion, while a traditional classroom setup suits individual, structured work like compliance certification. Get the layout right, and engagement naturally follows.
Right, let's talk tech. Is there honestly anything worse than the technology failing on the day with 20 people just staring at you? As a trainer, you must arrive early and rigorously run through a checklist with the actual equipment you intend to use. Don't just assume the Wi-Fi will work or the hybrid links are fine. Test the presenter laptop, test the audio, and for goodness sake, always bring backup files to avoid that dreaded morning panic. I love this mantra. The technology should support the learning rather than distract from it. Tech should just be the invisible scaffolding of your session. This is especially true for hybrid training. Your remote participants need to be deliberately engaged through polls, digital activities, and direct questions. If you just treat them as passive observers watching a screen, your tech is distracting from the learning, not supporting it.
Next up, step 4, enhancing the participant experience. Think of this as the interior design.
It sounds basic, but physical comfort absolutely dictates mental focus. Think about it. If you stick your team in rock-hard, non-ergonomic chairs in a freezing room with terrible acoustics for a full day, they aren't going to retain a thing. It doesn't matter how brilliant your facilitator is. A comfortable environment drastically reduces those unnecessary distractions so your team can actually focus on the material.
And when we talk about catering, don't just stop at dietary requirements, though yes, obviously that's crucial. You've got to think about the rhythm of the day. If your team has been smashing through complex learning, serving lunch in a completely separate breakout area provides a much-needed mental reset. But if you're running on a super tight agenda, a working lunch right there in the room might be the way to go.
Finally, step 5, evaluating success and scaling. Time for the final inspection.
A lot of HR and L&D teams simply hand out a feedback form at the end of the day and call it done.
But to really prove your return on investment, you have to look way beyond whether they liked the sandwiches or thought the trainer was funny. You need to evaluate whether their actual workplace behavior changed as a result of the session.
So, how do we build that true picture of success? It takes 4 steps. Step 1, sure, gather those immediate reactions. Step 2, test their actual knowledge through quizzes or demonstrations. Step 3, observe their on-the-job application a few weeks later. And finally, Step 4, measure the bottom line organizational impact. That is how you definitively prove your training was a success.
Okay, so you've nailed it. Now, what if you have to take this successful program on the road across the country? Standardizing your core logistics is the literal only way to avoid absolute chaos. You need a master agenda, replicated room layouts, and ideally, one national venue partner so you aren't trying to juggle 20 different relationships and varying standards.
And this is exactly where Karsten steps in as your master builder partner. They offer purpose-built, highly consistent facilities across all major Australian cities: Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. By partnering with them, you get built-in presentation tech, ergonomic seating, in-house catering, and flawless hybrid capabilities all managed through a single relationship for a stress-free national rollout.
It honestly takes all the heavy lifting right out of the equation. I hope this explainer has given you a rock-solid blueprint for your L&D strategy, from setting those initial objectives right through to measuring true ROI. Reach out to Karsten's to help tailor your next rollout. But I'll leave you with this final thought. If your training environment doesn't reflect the high quality of your content, what is it truly costing your business in lost potential?